and welcome to today's session. Today I'm going to talk about what is industry-focused research. This topic is suitable for PhD scholars who are going to start their PhD, or it is equally useful for academics who may have not worked in the industry or have not conducted industry-focused research. So in today's session, I'm going to walk through all the different aspects of what it involves to do industry research, or basically what is industry focused research. The first and foremost thing that is industry focused is it is applied in nature. Industry based research applies or focuses on practical applications and solving real world problems. And this is something really important and useful because a lot of research these days is now driven towards impact. And if you are doing applied research, and if your research has an application oriented nature, it fits within the category of industry research. So typically industry research is not just theoretical or academic in nature. It has a strong application focus, right? So whenever you're thinking of research that could be useful or applicable to the industry right away, then that is categorized as industry focused research or industry driven research. And such research is actually very useful and very important because the research that you're doing is done in an industry setting, which means you will be working with the industry partner who is going to work with you side by side to do the research. So although the research will be done by you, but a lot of inputs will be coming from the industry partner or a team within that specific industry who you would be working with. So it is a very important, and a lot of PhD studies are now focused on doing industry-based research. So that is the first thing that you should know about industry research. The next point is that it involves industry collaboration. So it is fairly straightforward, right? Because it is an industry research, there has to be somebody from the industry with whom you are working, or a problem that you are solving is for that particular industry. So here there could be two things that you can consider. One is you are working for one specific company and they have identified a problem in their sector, and then you're working with them to solve that problem. Alternatively, it could be like it could be a problem that is facing that sector. Yeah, for example, if it is agriculture sector, if it is mining sector, or any other banking, finance, any of these sectors, there is a problem or there are problems that these sectors are facing, and you are working on a problem that affects the larger industry as such or a sector. And in course of that research, you would work with or you would involve multiple companies. Yeah. So if it is banking, say, then you can work with different banks. Or if it is a mining sector, you would work with different mining companies and so on. So the industry collaboration involves engaging with either one particular company or one particular industry sector that comprises of multiple different companies who are active in that space. So collaboration with industry involves partnership with companies where research topics are often defined in collaboration with these companies, right? So that it is relevant as well as applicable for that particular sector. In Australia, a lot of this kind of research happens in cooperative research centers or CRCs. So CRC is kind of a funding that universities receive from government for conducting research that is applicable and useful to industry sectors, right? So there is, for example, there are many different type of CRCs in Australia. One that I am involved and I have students who work in one of these CRCs is called as Digital Finance CRC. And this CRC is where the research is happening on how blockchain technology or distributed ledger technologies can be useful for developing next generation financial products and instruments. So that is an application where a PhD scholar works with a bank, for example, and that happens to be case with one of my students. Similarly, earlier on, I had other students who worked on a different CRC, and that was in the agricultural sector. And that CRC was called as Food Agility CRC. Again, the problems were defined by the industry partner or the collection or a group of industry partners, and one or more PhD scholars would work on that problem or the group of problems. So keep in mind that in an industry-based research, the research question actually is informed by the industry. So you can come up with some idea, but the industry partner already has identified some major challenges that are facing their sector, and they want these challenges to be resolved. And that's why industry collaboration is very important in a industry-focused research. A next thing to remember or consider is industry-driven research heavily focuses on innovation and development. So if you think about innovation is there in a traditional academic research or PhD as well. But here the focus on innovation is at the very forefront. The whole exercise of doing industry research is on creating something new, something that is of value now, and that could be applied by the industry organizations right now. In comparison, when you're doing traditional academic research, innovation can come at a later stage, which means you develop a new technology and then you go and see who can use this technology, right? But here it is the other way around. You start with the problem that industry has given you, and you have to innovate and you have to solve that specific problem. Okay, and not only that, there is a heavy focus on development. So you not just propose something, not just develop a conceptual model or a conceptual framework, you actually develop something real that is working and that will be used by the industry partner in conducting their business. So you see, there is a different perspective or angle on how you look at it when you are conducting industry focused research. And on many occasions, these challenges that the industry is dealing with are not there in traditional academic research papers. So if you are going to engage in industry focused research, you need to understand, or you need to remember, that you have to be heavily engaged with the industry partner to understand their challenges, their problems, and focus on solving them. Okay, you can back that up with some other literature, but the actual core problem that industry faces, in my opinion, is very difficult to find in academic literature. And such product or such innovation has a strong commercial and societal value, which means when you develop a product, a solution, a service as part of your research, it can be readily useful and usable by either the customers or consumers within the who are using the company's product, or the company can use it within the organization to improve their processes or improve their activities. Next one is, it is cross-disciplinary. Frequently, when we are doing academic research, we are heavily focused on just our own discipline. Say, for example, you are working in computer science. So you are very much narrow doing your work in that discipline. You're trying to develop new technology, which is just purely in computer science field. But when you come to industry-focused research, one of the main distinguishing characteristics of industry research is that it can involve problems that needs to be solved using knowledge from multiple disciplines. Okay, so it is often cross-disciplinary, and sometimes in such situation we build teams that bring specific capability, right? So maybe somebody from computer science, somebody from engineering, somebody from business, they all come together and they work on solving a problem. So the computer scientist will work on the computer science based application or the challenge, whereas the business person will be working on a business challenge. So imagine a research problem, and from that research problem you derive multiple research questions, one or more, which is suitable for people with different disciplines, but the outcome is collective. All the three, in this case, for example, if there are three researchers working on this problem, they will collectively work and develop a solution that is practical, that is usable in the organization. So remember that industry research is often cross-disciplinary, and sometimes it is also a good skill for you to have. You bring in your knowledge, from your own discipline where you have the expertise, but you also get the opportunity to upskill yourself and gather new knowledge, new skills that help to solve real practical problems. Next thing that distinguishes an industry project or industry research is it is outcome oriented. So at the very start, you have a clear target that this is what is expected from you. It could be developing a new product, it could be developing a new technology, it could be developing a new service, it could be evaluating the problems that the company is facing with a particular product or service. So it is very much outcome oriented, and you are driven to reach that outcome, to achieve that outcome. Okay, so the success in terms in this case, the success is measured in terms of tangible outcomes. It could be patents, it could be prototypes, it could be process improvements, it could be impact on industry standards or practices. There could be a lot of outcomes that are that result from an industry focused research. Whereas when we think about traditional academic research, we are more focused on doing core fundamental research and publishing it in a research paper or in a top journal in our discipline, right? So you can see the difference here. The focus is on getting a patent or developing a prototype, whereas in a traditional PhD or academic research, the focus is on publication. Yeah, so you can start thinking about these differences and what whether industry-based research is a suitable thing for you to consider. Next thing is industry-based research is externally funded on most occasions. So the industry has a problem. They come to the university saying that this is a challenge that we are facing. We need some expertise from the university to help us solve these problems, this problem that we are facing. And on many occasions, like I said earlier on, it could be a group of companies coming together from the same industry, because it may be a problem that is affecting the whole sector. It's not only a problem for one specific company. So in that case, your research and the impact of research is much more broader, because it kind of affects or impacts the whole sector in that case. So if you think about it in that way, and the companies have a vested interest in getting this research done, because their business their business actually relies on this. So if you can imagine, you develop a new technology, develop a new approach, a new solution that directly impacts a company and improves their business or improves their customers' life by using the changes that you have done. You can imagine how satisfying that exercise, that experience would be for you, because typically traditional academic research only gets kind of isolated in publications, in the journal publications. Actual use, when you see somebody actually using the research that you have done, the product that you have developed or enhanced, that feeling is really amazing. And once you do that, you will find that, oh, this is such an amazing experience, and you would like to do it more and more in that sense. Next is industry research involves knowledge transfer, and the knowledge transfer is required because you are developing something new within an academic sector, being in the university or a research institution, and then you have to package it in a way that it could be commercially useful, commercially or practically usable. Yeah, so sometimes the research that is done is the core on how the business process might change within an organization, but it has to be done in a methodical way, that your research findings have to be mapped in a way, or the knowledge that you have generated has to be mapped in a way that it can be used in a commercial setting within an organization. So that requires knowledge transfer. Next thing is, you have to understand that there will be a lot of regulatory compliance when you're working on an industry project or an industry research, and you have to abide by ethical standards. I mean, ethics is equally important in academic research. I mean, it is important in both research, but in this case, regulate the involvement or navigating industry specific regulatory compliances and ethical standards is important, especially if you are working in, say, healthcare, pharmaceutical, or environmental science, environmental kind of sectors. The regulatory requirements may be quite a lot, and you have to be very familiar with that. If not, you have to connect with your industry partner and ask them to provide you guidance, or lead you or mentor you in that space, because it can be quite overwhelming at the start, especially with these existing standards, plus any new and upcoming standards that you may have to constantly keep up to date with. So having said that, don't let this drive you away from your core research that you want to do. Your focus has to be having an understanding that there are regulatory and ethical standards that have to be met, but at the same time, your focus has to be on, this is the challenge that I have been given to solve, and I'm going to solve it within the boundaries of these regulatory and ethical standards. Next thing is commercial confidentiality. As a business or as an organization, if you are doing some research specifically for a company, it may be sometimes difficult for you to publish the findings from your study, because there could be commercial benefits or gains that the company is going to get because of this research. So what can you do in that case? So in such situations, the option that you have is, you have to let the company exploit the commercial benefit of this new research, and then you can publish. Alternatively, you can publish something that does not disclose the actual innovation that you have done. And this, I guess, is a topic for discussion or another session on its own. But there are ways in which this can be done, and I have personally done it myself. So I can share my thoughts and my experience on publishing commercial research or industry-based research that I have done in the past. Next thing is, industry-based research deals with intellectual property. So you are developing an IP, and the company, or in partnership with the university or the research institution, you would be protecting this intellectual property so that the company, or jointly the company and the university, can exploit this intellectual property and generate commercial value For example, if you know, Google was started as a PhD research project, and the product and the intellectual property that they developed was a way in which web pages were ranked. That was called the page rank algorithm. So the page rank algorithm was patented. There was a IP rights on it, which Google then built the entire Google company using that algorithm or using that IP. So such things can emerge from your research. So, and that has to be adequately protected. Another benefit is that you can get a career in the industry after completing your PhD. On many occasions, there is this myth that if you're doing a PhD, you could only work in academia as an academic. But with a shift in the way PhD projects are now being handled, the focus on industry-based PhD is kind of shifting that. And you can, as a PhD graduate, you have the opportunity to enter into the industry or the commercial workforce after completing your PhD, rather than just limiting yourself to academia. So that is a very great benefit for pursuing this. So this brings us to the end of this session today. It's a short session, but I wanted to keep it very focused, because what I wanted you to take away was that what is the basic, what is industry-based research, and what does it offer? So you can see industry-focused research bridges the gap between academic knowledge and industry needs. And that's the niche that makes this type of research very valuable and so much in demand. It also fosters innovation and competitiveness in the global marketplace. So once you have developed a new product, new solution, new innovation, you kind of open yourself up to a lot of research, a lot of opportunities, not only in locally where you have done your work, but globally as well. So if you're considering research, you're considering starting your research or your PhD program, do think about this option of working with industry on an industry-based research, because the benefits of pursuing an industry-based research will be very, very, very strong, and there will be lots of benefits post finishing your PhD that you can get. All right, so that's all for today's session. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll be around here on the chat. And tomorrow what I'm going to talk about is the topic related to this and that is, why is industry research relevant? So today we talked about what is it, and tomorrow we will talk about why it is relevant and how you can actually leverage and make a strong career move with this approach. All right, that's all for today. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye.